So either you're new to camping or considering camping with kids and you're interested in making camping a fun, worthwhile experience and not being so stressed out and being a big pain in the you know what? Well, in this week's video, we're gonna go over everything you need to know about a Camp for America or KOA site and why we feel you need to check these out. Cue the intro. So if you saw our last series, we did a lot about Yosemite National Park, and we got a lot of inquiries about our video Curry Village. And if you haven't seen that video, consider clicking the link above to check that out. And so a lot of the questions came about entry-level camping, and if there were other recommendations that we had for beginners on how to camp. And this is where KOAs or Camp of Americas come into play. And this can be broken down into three main categories: accessibility, convenience, as well as affordability. So let's get into it. Starting off with accessibility, Camp of Americas is just what it sounds. Camps all over the United States. And so why is this important? Well, we live here in California and it is entirely difficult to book a campsite in California. However, there are so many Camp for Americas everywhere. These are easy to book, especially if you don't want to plan a trip 6 months in advance. So these are populated everywhere throughout the country. And so log on to the websites of campforamericas.com and be sure to check them out. The number 2 reason, and probably one of our favorites, is the convenience aspect. Why convenience? So not only are there plenty of campgrounds to go to, but this campground has everything you need to make camping simple and easy. What do I mean by that? So you have a couple different options on how to lodge inside the campground. You can bring your own tent, you can bring an RV, or they have cabins and or teepees that you can rent out for a cheap, affordable price. So here we have stayed in a couple Camp of Americas, and we stayed both in our own tent, and recently in Acton, California, we stayed in a teepee, and that was quite the experience. So on top of your lodging, the unique part about Camp of Americas is they have everything else you need outside lodging. So they have a general store where you can get all your amenities that you need or may have forgotten. They have public restrooms and showers that are fairly clean, considered camping out in the woods. But they also have pre-planned activities for the kids. And this is probably one of our favorite parts about Camp for Americas. So what kind of examples are there? So in some of the ones that we've gone to, they had a birdhouse making course, they had tie-dye t-shirt making course, and one of our favorites, they had a hunt for Bigfoot, where here they took the kids right before dark around the campsite on a hunt to try and find Bigfoot based on all the clues that they found around the campground. So they also typically have pools or they have trampolines, etc. So a ton of activities to keep the kids entertained and to keep your mind off of having to come up with a fun to-do list. So the third category comes down to price. So we found that Camp for Americas, for everything that you get, is actually a really affordable price. Typically a campsite for a 2-day stay typically runs you about 70 to 80 bucks per night. Where some of the basic campings, yes, that's a little bit more, but with all the amenities that you get and the convenience factor, have everything in one location and taking the stress out of camping, especially with kids, 70 to 80 bucks is well worth the price of admission. So again, if camping stress-free while on a budget is something you're interested in, we highly suggest Camp for Americas for your next camping travels. And so there you guys have it. Another way for you to get into camping or to start camping more with your kids without having all the stress and or gear to get into this environment. And so camping can be a great time spending with your family, being out in the great outdoors, sharing a bonfire, cooking a first some more. And so being able to do that in a conveniently located place, packed with all the amenities that you can need, that's what the Camp for Americas campground brings you. And so this is why we highly recommend checking some of these out. And so I'm Matt from the Adventure Buddies. Hope this video helps you. And if you have more comments or questions about Camp for Americas, comment down below. I love to take the time to answer each one of them. And if you haven't done so already, please consider giving this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below while you're at it. And remember to share this with a friend who might also be interested in camping with you. Because after all, life's an adventure. Who are you going on it with?